Hey, yo, what is going on, everybody? It is the Young King Hitman, man. Y'all know what's going on. It is the Further Beyond podcast. As per usual, man, I got my homie with me, man. I got my co-host, the Mr. Greg Dog. Greg, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, good, mate. Middle of summer. It's bloody hot and sweaty. I'm sticky. But to make it all better, we have Dragon Ball Daima, we have you, and we also have a special guest who's been here before,
Go
but
ahead,
not
go
with me,
ahead.
RaudoKun. How are you, mate?
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Another fantastic episode of the podcast, and of course, more episodes of Daima being thrown at us. Really, really good stuff. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying Daima as much as I have.
Yeah, facts. It's funny you say it's the dead of summer for you. It is the brick of winter over on this side. So it's 30 out, but that's fine. I like that type of weather. But yeah, here nor
Yeah,
there,
that is true.
man.
I love how you say
Yeah.
30 because it's like Fahrenheit, whereas like it's 30 here and it's
Oh
Celsius and
yeah,
it is
yeah.
sticky as
Celsius.
buggery. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this week's episode 9, titled Thieves, and it wasn't the most, hectic, lore expanding, world breaking episode, right? Which is I've been saying for weeks now, I guess for 2 months now, that I'm not really worried about episodes that are based around pace and at the time what was world building, right? We were so unfamiliar with the demon realm and we kept getting little bits of character expansion here and there. And I had no issue with those episodes. This episode was really just like it was as close to filler as you could possibly have. It was legitimately
Yeah.
nothing crazy or nothing impactful until the last couple moments. So with that being said, since we did not have last week's episode uploaded, we're gonna have to go about this Tamagami number 3 fight before we get into the big bad, what seems to be the big bad of Dragon Ball Daima. I'm ready to see that. But starting off with Tamagami number 3, Goku had his duel. I think we all just enjoyed that fight. It felt like classic Dragon Ball. I will ask though, Raudo, out your favorite moments in that fight, what would you say were some of the things you appreciated, whether it be the first part, the brawl, or the battle of wits? I'm just saying a battle of wits. Ding
We're
ding.
running with that
We
for
just
sure.
yeah, we need that. We need that out of the Tamagami 3 versus Goku duel, man. Is there anything you picked up that you really liked or anything you want to point out again?
Oh, everything was so well crafted out of that fight from the very beginning to the very end. I gotta say, my favorite moments, of course, was the little beam clash that they did with the Tamagami's, I guess, little key attack, and of course Goku's Kamehameha. In the midst of it, of course, he went a little bit more beyond the capabilities and just went into like a super Kamehameha for just a small bit, and then we saw the little shade or like the small frame of transformation for Goku going into Super Saiyan 2 after the fact, and just that moment was like I jumped out of my seat every
Yeah,
after the
facts.
Super Saiyan 2 post. He was like so cool and everything, but yeah, that fight, even if it's like what was it, like 8 minutes long, I would say that fight was. It was so good.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it
finished
was. And
before
that's
the
what I
halfway mark, wasn't it? Before we got
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
see.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I like
Yeah.
is these fights are really condensed. They're not really dragging, classic Dragon Ball, right? It needs to be 8 episodes. It
Yeah.
needs to be
5 minutes
14
is like
episodes.
3
They're not
seasons.
really doing that here. Yeah, man. I really like that. I like that a lot. And I would say one of my favorite things, Raud, you pointed this out, is well, they're never gonna hear it. But you pointed out that the Tamagami at the end of the fight with Goku, just as he gains admirance for Goku, is he does like a imitation of the Kamehameha motion, right? Like little things like that in Daima are really cool. And I think little touches like that are bringing the show together. They're really paying attention to detail. When we recorded our episode between me and Raul, we were talking. Well, I was telling you about how Goku was in the bar or the restaurant, I should say, with the old couple before they shot off in the Sky Seed, and just he had a moment where the animation was just him eating, right? Classic Goku. But little details like that, they're paying a lot of attention to. The frame by frame for me, I think looks it just is that they care is really dope. So back to the Tamagami fight, Greg, and I just gotta ask, you're a real smart guy, you're a real sharp fellow. Did you
Oh, calm
enjoy
down.
the second half of the duel? Did you enjoy did you enjoy the intellect challenge that Goku had to get through to get to the Dragon Ball?
I did. Before we go ahead, just in case anyone's listening and a little bit confused, we did do like an hour's worth of recording on this episode last week, and we kind of lost all the audio. So when you hear us talking about in past tense with a little bit of disappointment, it's because we had a really good chat and none of it came through. But the Battle of Wits was interesting. The whole Tamagami fight in general, it was a point that I kind of harped on about last week when we did chat, but it's setting the tone for the series as a whole of how respectful the whole duel was. You know what I mean? It's like it's not just a big bad guy who's got to do what he's got to do, and Goku's basically got to kill him to sort of make it happen. It's two beings that they've got a task and they're in each other's way, but they're more than happy to sort of test out themselves on one another. And like you sort of said before to Radu, like at the very end of the fight, when they're flying away with the Dragon Ball, the Tamagami is kind of practicing how to do a Kamehameha on his sorry, I'm mixing my words, Kamehameha on his own kind of thing. So he's very much just like, oh, this guy was so good, man. He can do this move. I need to learn how to do this move. It was sick.
The legend of the spiky-haired child just kept growing over the course of it. It's dope,
and at no point was like the Tamagami, like he didn't even like we mentioned how it felt sort of Defenders of Justice-ish from the Tournament of Power, how they're not bad guys. But
what categories did we give him? I was hoping he gets sibling bond because of all three Tamagami, and then I know we gave him Battle of Wits. We gave him. Would he be on Artificial Life Forms?
Ooh. I don't know.
Here or there, right? Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. But yeah, we give him like 3 or 4. Oh, Defenders of Justice. Yeah. But and then, I would assume the demonic power, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. But even like, unlike Jiren, who had his moment of like, I guess, bitterness, where he attacks the crowd, kind of thing. Like that was a bit of a bad guy move. You know what I mean? The Tamagami's got nothing like that. If the closest thing he had was stopping the fight to go play a game of cups, you know what I mean, to try and find the Dragon Ball. He was like, no man, I lose. Don't beat me anymore, but I'm gonna give you another test that you may not be able to win. So I thought that was kind of funny, and it brings things back to a more wholesome level. And I think it's an indication of how they want to increase the scope. Story figures, yeah, for sure. But they want to, I think the creators want to increase the scope of the overall Dragon Ball audience, and not just for those like us who watched everything back in the day, but also for a new generation who, I don't know, maybe are a little bit younger, you know, pre-10 years old kind of thing, who want just an adventure. And I think that's what we're getting here. I've got sort of a similar point to sort of bring up about the new episode, which is interesting. But I think my favorite part of that fight was the weaponry. The moment Goku used his power pole to break the hammer after a good session of hammer versus power pole, the way that changed the pace of the fight, and the whole like, I'm not using my power pole anymore, so I'm going to make sure you're not using your hammer anymore. We're going to go fist to fist. I just thought that was a really good way to sort of, if you're a fan of music, it was very much like a key change. You know what I mean? Like a song's going real cool, and then they bust out a key change. It's like, oh shit, this went to a whole new level. This is really interesting, and I loved how they did that. So I'm very keen to see how the weapons play a factor in the future Tamagami fights.
Yeah. I'm all of that. I stand by, and I double stand by it. So I can appreciate the wit of the second half of the episode, because one thing when he does the little cup challenge, and once again, just small details, I gotta say it because I want to know if other people are noticing it in the comments, right? Is the little cups, they look like Tamagami or whatever, and then when he flips the Dragon Ball to trick Goku, obviously Goku points out it was behind him, but when I was watching the episode live, I was thinking maybe that the hologram, or like, I don't know, like the tree that it had, the big tree with the giant Dragon Ball, I was wondering if that was the real Dragon Ball the whole time.
I thought that from the very start.
Like shrink down. Yeah, you did, exactly. So when it was happening, I'm like, oh man, I have to give Greg his props again, man. He's starting to stack up the score on me, man. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it just is really, it would make a lot of sense if that's how it worked, because one thing I was wrong about is you asked if the Tamagami would just stay alive essentially after
Mm.
it gives up the Dragon Ball. I told you I didn't think so. I thought Goku would like blast it away or something like that, or it would pop the Dragon Ball out its chest and like fade to bits or whatnot. And that didn't happen. Neither of those things happened. So it was really cool to know that he's probably just standing there, just waiting for the Dragon Ball to come back after the wish is granted and the next challenger comes
Oh,
through.
that's a good
So
point. Do
it
you
would
reckon
be
it'll go
really
directly to
cool.
him?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I feel
Well,
like
I
it's his
mean,
purpose in life,
yeah,
right?
okay, yeah. Do you reckon him and the other three will go like Gamma 1 and 2 and team up with the good guys versus the new Majin without
Ooh.
spoiling anything too much?
You know what? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So I need you to hold that question,
Yeah, I
please. Hold that
know.
question, and we're gonna get back to that in what might be 5 or 10 minutes. That's perfect. I want to keep going though. Okay, so now that's the perfect segue with this new episode titled Thieves. Like we said,
Yeah.
I'm cool with pacing the show, but at the same time, we're supposedly halfway. I was told there are about 20 episodes, so it feels like we're going at a weird snail's pace if they're
I
using
don't believe
episodes
that
like this
anymore.
to progress.
I don't
Yeah,
believe that
exactly what I was
anymore,
about to
honestly.
say.
Yeah, it
So,
just
I'm
if there's
kind of
only
thinking
11
it might be
episodes
like
left,
30-ish.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was thinking more in the
yeah.
40s, 50s.
Oh, okay. Okay, Rao, do you think there are 20 episodes, 25, 35? What are you thinking based on the pace we're going at? Because we're not even in World 2 yet. They've not even gotten to Warp somehow, right? What do you
Yeah,
think?
no, that I haven't heard as to like how long the series is gonna be. Is it gonna be like 25 or beyond that? But yeah, I mean, with the pacing that they're tackling and with how much left is there for the story, I feel like it could go beyond the 25 episodes because just
Yeah,
now we just
let's
saw the Friends of Goku. I guess that's something that we're gonna head into in the next segment. But we just now are starting to see like the Friends of Goku arrive with Goku, like sync up with him, seeing what's up, and like some of the other characters getting the taste of the demon realm. So for now, I if there are only like 3 Dragon Balls and be like, oh, let's save them, then boom, it's over. Then yeah, I don't know if it's
Well,
gonna
do
be
you
just like
think
that, but
do you think there'll be like a sidetrack that will extend the story? So like right now we've
yes.
kind of got an end point, you know what I mean? Get the Dragon Ball, save Dende, beat King Goma, or Dr. Rinsu, whoever it might be. But do you think there's going to be a twist that throws an entire left turn that they've got to go along before or even during their confrontation with the apparent big bad
they
guy?
actually could, yeah. That could be a possibility that they can
I
insert
raise my
that.
hand.
Go for it.
Yeah,
So I do think that because Goku, like when he met with Vegeta, finally, right? Vegeta,
Mm.
Piccolo, Bulma get to Earth or the Demon Realm, and they meet up and whatnot. Goku was clearly like not even bothered. Like he could
No.
care less that Vegeta and Piccolo and them are there. Like it's cool to
We
see you
spoke about
guys.
them
I'm gonna go
sparring
keep looking
even when
for the
they met
Dragon
up,
Ball.
and they
Yeah, I
just did
thought it
it.
was possible. And it just did there and funny, Vegeta's like bored out of his mind out there, right? So you would have thought he'd challenge Goku or something, but maybe we see it, maybe we don't. One thing he said to Vegeta was like, I'm gonna go fight the other Tamagami. You can go. Did he say you can go fight the first? No, he said go
No,
take
you
down
go.
Goma, right?
Yeah, he's
What did
like
he say?
go knock off Goma. Yeah, he's basically like
Yeah,
go
he
take
said
care of
go.
Goma if you want. If not, it doesn't matter. I guess he just doesn't care. He's got
So
these
I
Tamagamis
think
to
it's
beat.
possible that Vegeta crosses paths with Ku, and we're gonna have to get into that in a moment. But since we're on this point already, I think it's very much possible that he runs into him and Ku just knocks him off, right? Him and Piccolo, he gets knocked off, or maybe we find out that Goma really is hiding this power that they've been saying he's feared for the entire series, and maybe he outsmarts Vegeta or he outwits Piccolo or something like that. I definitely can see how they can give an entire episode to Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma's journey. I don't
They
see why they
should.
wouldn't. I don't
I
see
don't know if they
why they're
will.
out there if they're not. I
I
don't
don't
see
think
why
they.
they're there then.
I don't know if they would without Goku, if that makes sense. I just think it's that
Yeah,
kind of
no, I get
show.
that.
If it's just them, I'd say no. But if Goku hung around hypothetically in this episode, and it was the 4 of them again with whoever else, that's when I'd say yeah, they'll have a focus. But do you
Interesting. They're
think?
doing that classic Z thing where like Goku and Vegeta are never quite paired up, like, Super paired
Mm.
them up a lot, right? But, like, Z
Mm.
constantly made the teaser, like, when are Goku and Vegeta going to fight together? And so we haven't seen that yet in Daima, obviously, but hopefully we get to it. I just think they will. My gamble is that they'll give Vegeta a centric episode or at least a half a episode, maybe like the second half of something, and he'll have his
Well,
own, like, quest line or plot or whatever. He had his
well,
moment in this episode for sure, though. He did Vegeta things, right?
did they? I can't remember. I only just finished watching the episode. To kind of quickly give everyone the rundown, we saw the creation of Majin KUU, who is basically
Mhm.
the new version of Boo that has been cooking up under Dr. Rinsu's kind of guidance. And she says at the end, "Go take out a Tamagami." Did she say specifically which one? Like, was it
The
number one or
first.
two? Oh, it was the first. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that goes my
yeah.
question. Bummer.
I'm really interested. So now we're here, right? Oh, did you have something to say?
No, I was going to say if she just said vaguely go take out a Tamagami, my theory would have been that he would have gone straight for number two, met up or got there before Goku, killed the Tamagami, taken the Dragon Ball, and then they've each got one apiece.
Yeah,
And I think that
exactly.
still
I mean,
might be
shoot,
the.
imagine they do meet up in World 2. That would be kind of hard
I
too. Who
still
knows?
think that's
Like the story
mostly what's
doesn't
going
have
to
to be as
happen.
linear as we guessed. Yeah,
No, well,
you're
I think
right.
he's
I
going to
like
go
that.
probably kill Tamagami one, like proper kill him. There won't be a battle of wits. I
Yeah.
think Majin Kuu will just go ham, just destroy
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
take the Dragon Ball. I think that will probably enrage both the other Tamagamis, and then we'll get a Gamma 1 and 2 style team up.
I like
But I think
this.
it'll be the plot of we've both got a Dragon Ball. You need mine, I need yours, and there's also one other to contest. I think that will be a little bit of a thing, maybe. I'm not sure. Who knows?
Yeah, I like this. So, Raul, let me know how you think, because I know you play a certain mobile game that we all have a slight interest in. Nothing crazy. It's not like we play it a lot, but I took a guess in the 8 Star Ball chat, and I said I think it's possible that the way the Temagami will work. I do hope that if Ku does take out T1, that it'll be a real fight, and then he overwhelms him versus like, oh, he off screens him, and then next thing you know, he just has a Dragon Ball. I would hope it's not like that, but Tamagami 1, I would hope he's the strongest, and then maybe, he's like a slot 1 unit, and then Tamagami 2 is like a slot 2, get 200% attack and defense upon supering unit, and then Tamagami 3 is like a support unit for whatever category, and maybe he's like a 3rd slot dodging unit or something really cool like that. How have you looked at Daima, anything in Daima, just like one major thing or a couple small things through through the scope of being a Dokkan fan? Like, how have you looked at the game or the show so far?
Uh, so there's some good options that they can start doing. They first introduced these as SR characters on Dokkan for Goku and Vegeta. They're not too special. They're just like getting a little bit of a taste of it. It's not compared to Legends, since Legends have already thrown out a couple of Goku's Glorious in the game and other shenanigans. So I'm thinking that whenever we can get some more style of like animations in Daima, or getting even more expanded into the universe, I feel that we can have like this little Daima category, or just Defenders of Justice being added into that. Because there are some characters, like let's say Pansy. Pansy was trying to fight for the villagers and fighting off against like the people in the demon realm.
Yeah.
So that could be added into that. Maybe they could add the Goku that is on Defenders of Justice as well, because he also defended the people in there.
Hmm.
They can be able to add Glorio, some of these other characters as like summonable characters, just like they did with the superhero movie, where they added Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 as the Dokkan Festival characters there. So they can play it by hand. They can be able to throw out more animations. They can have the series continue to expand a little bit more, so the play set keeps building up for the characters, so they can be either very well designed, or have them be I guess like a little trophy character on Dokkan, as they have
Yeah.
done in the past.
I mean, shoot, I want them to be real. I mean, excluding, I assume, like, I don't know who the exclusions would be, actually. I guess Hybis, like, say I told Greg, like, Hybis being a support item or a support memory would be really, really dope. I think you can go about it in routes like that.
Just eating
And
chips.
Yeah, like things like that, or him using that little knockoff dragon radar he had, or I guess it's a premium dragon radar for that matter, to like the map he has to go find Earth. Things like that would be really cool. I just said the whole spiel about the Tamagomis, right? Me overthinking everything. You have little moments like that. Greg, did you have anything off the top of your head?
I
Obviously,
do.
we're gonna get like a Majin KUU and
And I
all
have a
these
question. This is for
representations
you
of major
specifically.
characters. Go
All
ahead, go
right.
ahead.
So Radu, I need to ask you before we go ahead. Do you know King's theory of the Saiyans and the demon realm?
Yo, oh, thank goodness you said it. I almost forgot something. Go ahead, go ahead.
I actually don't.
Okay, so
That's some good information for me.
I'll speak for King here. Long story short, he reckons that since they announced that pointy ears is mostly an indication for demons, he thinks that originally the Uzaru or the Great Ape form was the Saiyans in the demon realm. That was their demon form, and then after thousands of years of evolution, they became the Saiyans and they migrated outside of the demon realm. So that's where his little theory is from the start. Since we got
something added to it this episode too.
Yes,
Go ahead.
we've got we have a mention in this latest episode of the Cybermen, the lady cooking up, the witch cooking up the new Majin Buu, or Majin KUU is what his name is. She's doing all the recipes. She's added the essence of Majin Buu, which was a plot point, which was a bit of a thing last episode. She put a seed of a Cyberman, and she said something, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the exact quote, but she's like, "These are really hard to come by, and I only have 2 left." I immediately thought, well, okay, so apparently the Cybermen are native to the demon realm. Weird that the Saiyans have such access to them.
And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
like their features are
left.
demonic features. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering what you thought of that, King, seeing as it's very tied to your theory, if you wanted to read into it like that.
That's exactly where I'm at with it. You know me very well, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very stuck on it now. I can't even leave it now because I've been on it since like what feels like episode 2. I think if they continue, adding these little bits, it'll all but confirm it. Until they confirm it, I'm there already, but I understand that it's not like the easiest thing for people to be like, yeah, well, obviously. It's not obvious. I don't think it's obvious.
No.
I want them to take a route where they tell us more towards the end of it. I don't want Goku to like find out and then brush it off. Like, sometimes he finds out about his heritage and it just doesn't matter to him, which is fine. It's Goku's character, but I want them to make it a major thing. We have constantly gone back and forth because it's not just the Saiyans that I'm obsessed with. It's the Namekian heritage also. So maybe they all find out together. Maybe we spend World 2 finding out about the Namekians and World 1, or whatever the end game chapters are, finding out more about the Saiyans as Goku. I'm just throwing stuff out here. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm just throwing stuff out here. If Goku gets a supposed new form or a new evolution while he's in the demon realm, things like that could all be correlated back to, hey, just so you guys know, y'all are technically from here. So, or your ancestors are from here for that matter. I think it would be really cool. And when I see things like the Cybermen being out there, it makes me say, because KUU is like, you see the green skin and shading and things like that. It makes me say, like, what else are they gonna pull out of their hat? Because the idea of going all the way back to the start of Z, and Toriyama made sure like this was a focal point, and KUU's design, by the way, I don't really like his name. Like, it's simple, right? It's really straightforward, but the bibbity bobbity boo thing was like really cool to me. And then KUU is like, I want to figure out what that's from. But yeah, you look at it from what else can they do? Because they just went back to the very start of Z to make sure that that was relevant. What is it, 30-ish, 35 years later? Like, that's really cool to know that they're doing stuff like that. So what do you guys think I'm, sticking to the wall yet, or am I still tripping out? Like, Rao, how does this all sound to you since you didn't know about this in my head 10 minutes ago?
It's an interesting topic point. It's close to having a real theory. So, really,
if it sounds crazy, it's all right, man. I said crazier to you.
No, it sounds good. It sounds good. It could be something that we could be able to see. I would
man,
like.
I'm ready.
Like that.
I'm definitely ready to just explore. The demon realm is obviously added a lot of depth to a lot of characters, so we'll see where it leads to. But now let's just focus on KUU himself. Do you guys like his aesthetic? Do you guys like how simple and easy it felt like it was to make him? Do you guys think he has a certain what he spoke? I didn't think he was going to speak for a while. I thought it was going to be like, Kid Buu esque, and they made sure he's like understood. He didn't say much, right? But he just made it like, oh, he's got a base IQ, right? He's able to understand. He's competent, basically. Do you guys think he's going to be like a raging monster? Do you guys think he's going to be really calculated? Greg, where do you think they're going to go with this? Obviously, we don't know much yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have a lot to contribute yet. It was such a brief, it was, they panned up, they showed his full, look.
Yeah. Do you like his aesthetic?
I think there's more to come. Maybe,
yeah, for sure.
I guess. But
Yes.
but ultimately, I don't really care so much. I really like Kid Buu, who is arguably just as simple, if not more
Yeah.
simple, to a
He's
degree.
more simple.
And given that we already kind of had, the Cyberman as a base, it was not unexpected either. So when he popped out and he looked mostly like a Cyberman with the Buu shorts going on, I was kind of like, okay, that's cool. That is what it is. This episode in general, Thieves, was probably the weakest of all 9 episodes so far. It's not to say it was bad. It was just not as kind of
Totally agree.
not as
Explosive.
not as explosive, but not as well executed. I don't think there was some really, really good moments, and I've got a few like left of field questions later that I want to ask you guys. But in terms of Majin KUU, I don't really have too many thoughts. I'm very open, I guess. Like I don't have any expectations for him. Obviously, Kid Buu is kind of the template, I guess. But I don't care if he's a raging monster or if he's a sadistic little prick, or even if he's a happy-go-lucky
like
kind
that.
of like, I don't actually
I like
care. I kind of hope that he's.
yeah.
I just hope the dynamic of him versus Goku or him versus whoever is the fight in the end. I hope that's interesting. I hope that there is personality to that fight that matches not only Goku but him himself, similar like the Tamagami. Like that's
a good
perfect.
one.
Like
Yeah,
there was
you're right.
personality behind the way they each fought and the way they fought against each other, and that's all I really hope for. So I can only trust them so far, and the only reason I didn't like this episode was mostly because not a lot happened, and it was pretty odd in terms of the pacing of it. In terms of what actually happened, though, there was nothing that really stood out to me, good or bad, except for one little bit that I just thought was really kind of interesting more than anything. But we'll get to that later. Ruddy, what do you think about Majin KUU? I was saying
See,
Kun because that's the end of your name.
yeah, I'm very interested. Yeah. So,
oh, okay.
There's so many things. Like immediately, you can compare Majin KUU to Buu and all of his other states. Sort of like the like control of everything that he has, from his like mannerisms to him actually just having a plausible conversation with Arinsu, just saying, okay, you want me to fight the one against the Tamagamis? Understood, I'm going for it. But Majin Buu, like if we compare all the forms of Buu to this Majin KUU character that we have now, Majin Buu was just all about like being a little bit silly, like, oh, Buu do this, Buu do that, etc. Then we go over to the evil Buu side of things, where just evil Buu is just the embodiment of evil, that he doesn't care no matter what you do. He's just going to like punish you and destroy everything just for the sake of I guess enjoyment. And then we have Super Buu, who was a bit more like Majin KUU, I would say. It's just a bit more controlled in terms of like not going too berserk, but not being too stale and everything. And then he shifts. We see the shift over to like Kid Buu, where again the fusion of like the evil Buu, like having the embodiment of evil for him, but also like being rationally and critical about, I'm going to absolutely wreck house. So in this type of scenario, like I'm thinking Majin KUU again. The difference is that with this witch Marba creating Majin Buu and stating that there was an accident because there was no control for him whatsoever, there was now we have the control aspect on Majin KUU. So he is ready to go. He knows what he needs to do, and whatever order he gets, like, hey, just let me know. If you want me to kill one of the
Let me know where the smoke at. Yeah.
exactly. If you want me to wreck house against one of the Tamagamis, I'm going for it. And we might even see just a complete domination from Majin KUU in the next few episodes. Depends on that. But
well, then I
yeah,
definitely have a question for you both. The age old
Yeah.
debate: who's strong? I just want a simple answer before I ask the proper question. The age old debate: who is stronger, Buhan or Kid Buu, or who is more dangerous? I should say.
Bro, please. Oh,
But
Kid Buu is more dangerous, of course.
Yes. Why is Kid Buu more dangerous?
Lack of restraint, or I guess impulse control.
Like he lost his he lost all control.
So
he just
the only thing
berserk.
gatekeeping him was the Grand Supreme Kai's goodness, inherent goodness.
So do you think then that the Achilles heel of like Majin KUU having a bit more intelligence, yeah, sanity, exactly. That's probably a better way to put it. It's sanity. Like Kid Buu, like you were saying, Radu, had that unpredictability. That's why he was more dangerous. He would stick his foot through the ground and it'd kick you in the back of the head 20 yards away. You know what I mean? Like, or he'd just fall asleep and then turn into a ball and then just knock you out from the side of the temple. Like that's how difficult he was to fight, and he was a maniac because of it. Whereas sure, Buhan might be stronger, but he's less dangerous because you can kind of anticipate his movements because
that's exactly how
he
they
has
got
rational
him.
thinking.
That's exactly how Vegito beat him.
Yeah, he's got rational thinking. So if someone's thinking rationally, it's not hard to sort of put your feet in their boots and sort of think where they're going to kick next. So I wonder how that conversation then evolves into entering Majin KUU into that, who's the more dangerous or who's the strongest or whatever the case may be. That's probably the most interesting aspect of it, because if he is Kid Buu with Buhan's strength, then that's crazy. But he seems to be more Kid Buu's strength with maybe Buhan's mindset. So who knows how that's going to play.
Yeah, I will raise my hand for this one. There's a lot there. I think one, I just said it. Buhan is stronger. Kid Buu's more dangerous. I think KUU is.
I agree, by the way. Yeah.
You're exactly right with the fact that he's going to use his IQ. I think it would be really interesting if you know what? Let's go the opposite route. I think it would be really lame if he just explodes, like he just has an exploding rage moment where he just becomes like this big buff ball of fury. Like it just say like full power Frieza-esque or like Cell Max-esque. I want him to keep his intellect. I want him to keep. It seems we're all going off his very first real appearance, right? It seems like he's going to be a cunning character for his conversation to be like a real first point that they made. They made sure we understood he's not stupid. So I want to see what route they go with that. I do like his aesthetic. I think because right now I'm looking at it, it kind of indicates to me that he might blow up. I think he's gonna do the Cyberman, Super Buu, Fat Buu thing of like an angry explosion, or just I guess just an explosion period.
Well, I have a question off the back of that.
Maybe
regen and absorption.
Maybe,
like what?
Yeah, I'm worried. I hope he can absorb, but I do hope he can transform.
Okay, I reckon he's going to be.
I definitely think there's there. Yeah, man. I trust them to go whatever route they go, but I don't want them to rehash Buu. I want this character to be so distinct and so like he's like the perfect what's the word, juxtaposition to what Kid Buu is. And so it'd be really cool for them to go about it that way. But yeah, just when I first saw him, it was spoiled for me before I got to watch the episode. I saw him and I was like, that's a weird looking thing, but it's such a Dragon Ball looking thing. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, man, maybe let me look at it again. And then I looked at it again and I'm like, it already got spoiled. And I really like his aesthetic. I really like his design. The shades of green. I think it's really cool. I don't know where the purple in the first place.
He was fat.
Exactly.
I think the first thing we saw in Majin Buu.
Yes. I think the reaction we have to new forms and new characters is like everyone is so ready to hop on Twitter and it's like, oh my gosh, they just ruined another moment, or they just look how they just what's the word they say, fumbled. Like look how they fumbled this. And it's like, well, if you guys saw Fat Boo right now
If you
in the
saw
middle of the Boo
anything,
saga in 2024, you guys would be like, this is a joke. Like, you're kidding me. This cannot be the biggest threat Goku's ever seen. If you guys saw Perfect Cell, you'd be like, this can't be him. Like, this is
Perfect
you
Frieza.
saw Final Form
Final Form Frieza.
Yes,
Sorry, yeah.
bro. Final Form Frieza would have blown the internet up because it made no sense at the time. So it's classic Toriyama. So I'm so excited to see the route that they're gonna take with it, man. Let me bite my tongue, man. Route, I'm sorry, man. If you got anything, let me know, Greg, or if you guys, whatever, man. Y'all, I'm excited, man.
Oh no, we see it. But yeah, no, I mean, there could be the possibility that this is not the final form that this character has.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
So
we could be able to see some more forms from him. Granted, I did got a little bit like confused that they used the Cyberman seed, and it's like, oh well, we're gonna have the nutrients for the Cyberman feed this little like creature that they're doing, and having it be like the new staple of the enemy. But again, they could be able to evolve this character. Cell had a first form, Frieza had a first form, Boo has its own primary form. We could see this happening as a pattern, since Dragon Ball does that. We could see it as a pattern here. We can be able to see more, like, much stronger designs from this new Majin KUU character. So yeah, you're not alone feeling like super excited about it.
Well, that's the question. Well, we all believe he has more than just this quote unquote base form. How many forms do y'all think he has? 2 or 3? Or if y'all say 4, that'd be crazy.
I was going to say any more than 3. Any more than 3, and I think we're starting to rehash Boo Saga. I think
I'm going 2, man. I'm going 2.
Yeah, I'd like to.
He has like an explosive form into like a buff. Like
I think he'll absorb.
I don't want that route, but I could see it.
I think he'll absorb either like Neva, Degasu, or Rinsu, or even Goma with the third eye. Like, I just think there'll be one absorption when maybe Goma confronts Majin KUU himself. Like they're not allies, I don't think. Nor is a Rinsu to Goma, so to speak. At this point, she wants to be the Demon King, so there might be a clash of heads there. But maybe somehow the third eye comes up. Goma gets his hands on it like he said he would, and then Majin KUU goes, oh sweet, well I can get rid of you and take all that power for mine. Let's go. So who knows?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I don't have anything left for this episode. I mean, nothing notable, I should say. I do. I guess. Go ahead. I was about to say.
This is a bit left of field, but in terms of, I would like to see a really odd and uncharacteristic video game for Dragon Ball set in the demon world, because I think there is like, maybe not so much just yet, but there is this weird sense of like a really cool and fun MMO that I get from it. Like all the different little places they go. After seeing Vegeta fight in this nightclub, I was like, I want to go to this nightclub. I want to go to that dingy bar. I want to go buy some, I want to go to the lady that sells you the fusion bugs.
We're only in World 3, bro.
That's crazy. What I mean. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, is that something that would interest you guys as Dragon Ball fans, having like this really, because Dragon Ball isn't known to having MMO style,
like no World of Warcraft type. Dragon Ball Online is the closest they got. Right?
But not like lived in worlds like a Skyrim or a whatever the case may be, where you can go and interact with even like Cyberpunk, which let's not go too deep into that. But that's what reminded me of when Vegeta was having his fight in that club after getting a tray of food or whatever it was. I was like, there's so many different like atmospheres to exist in already just in the third world. And like I said, we haven't even gone and sat down under a tree that's hatching Kais yet. You know what I mean? It's weird. I just got this sense. I was like, I'd love to have a game when this is all said and done and we've explored the world. Just call it Dragon Ball Demon World or something, and we can all just kind of play as Goku and explore the 3 realms and do whatever, or even create our own demon and have a bit of fun, or I don't know. I've
always wanted be Majin KUU and we earn our way up. Like,
I've always wanted a big MMO like that, actually explorative MMO But this has really kind of ignited that fire of desire again in me just after watching that. What do you guys reckon?
I'm all for it. I mean, shoot, anything Dragon Ball. Only Dragon Ball game I think I haven't liked in a long time was. Well, I wasn't the biggest Fighters fan, but I enjoyed it when I was, enjoying it. But
Mm.
I didn't. I was never interested in Breakers. I never played Breakers. But Rao,
Right.
did you have any ideas of what they could do with a game like that? Or I guess I should just ask: does it interest you? Do you like games that are MMO based, or can you see Dragon Ball pulling something like that off?
I think all depends on the execution of it, because I do. Of course, I'm not good at fighting games because you guys have seen me, but barking is like, yeah, I can go for it, but I get beat up easily. But
Y'all be ducking, man. I don't want to hear none of that, man. Y'all be ducking, man.
But like we seen this with like Project Multi. Y'all remember that? That game was pretty good. It was
Oh,
all
Yes,
a
good.
MOBA
You're
style
right.
kind of
Yeah.
game. Yeah, so they can be able to, if they have a good proper execution of it, it could be pretty good. I've not seen like really good high hopes for Breakers. Sorry, Iron King, but like if we have they can be able to execute the game well. They can be able to properly give it the care that it needs. I feel like it could be pretty good to know.
But
Like,
yeah, if
pretty
I
good
was
to have.
answering that question you asked, do I think they could pull it off? The answer is no. As much as I want it, I don't think they'd pull it off. If if anything's given me hope, it's this series in general. They've decided to basically reset the status quo in terms of how they want to portray the series overall. And that's kind of what I
Yeah.
meant by like bringing up this topic later. And after I was already speaking about that fight from last episode, is that they clearly have a team who has sat down and gone, well, how do we want people to perceive new Dragon Ball content? It's going to be a bit different from just the beat 'em up, big flashy battles and what people are used to. Whether that's good or bad in your own interpretation, I don't know. But I'd love it if the team sat down and gone, well, if we can be a little bit different but still true to the series with a TV show like we're doing, and a lot of people are very high on it. Maybe we can do the same thing with a game. Maybe we can make an open world game that we haven't really dipped our toe into before, and we can make it really artsy or a little bit, Breath of the Wild is, which was very different for the Zelda series at the time. So I reckon it would be really fun, but I don't trust the gaming division to pull it off, though I trust hopefully the Daima crew to maybe push for the right people to make it happen.
I like it. I like the idea of it. I'm just listening for this segment, man. You're definitely gonna have to clip this part of the conversation.
Will, yes.
I am fully open to whatever game. Like I said, the only one that I really was like I have no interest in so far was Breakers, but I'm fully interested in all the modern Dragon Ball games, and I think a game like that it would take so long to make, and I'm so open to just waiting, just chilling. As long as the game comes out good, man, I'm okay.
I
Like
have a
right now, I love it to death. I'm telling you, I love it to death. I'm having so much fun, but Sparking Zero feels like it's in beta sometimes. Like it kills
Oh
me the
yeah,
way people
yeah,
are
no,
able to
absolutely,
abuse this thing. So
yeah.
if they
I have a
just make
massive
a healthy
idea
game,
I've had a long
they
running
have a
idea
lot.
for a Dragon Ball MMO, but it would take a whole lot of loosening of the shackles in terms of what they would allow us to play as, I guess. Like I've always had the idea of
Yeah.
starting the story of an MMO back like when Kakarot is born, but have it be like a full what if game where Frieza doesn't destroy the Saiyan race, and you make your own Saiyan. It's part of the Saiyan race, and you just explore with a team of Saiyans, and you keep
Mm.
transforming and you keep customizing and keep exploring this universe, but like as a bit of a bandit kind of thing. And then halfway through you revolt and you all take down Frieza, but all the Saiyans live, which means all of your characters live, and you all get to keep exploring. And whether you go to Earth and train under Roshi, or you go to Namek and train under Nail, or whoever it might be, you could really explore the Dragon Ball universe in a way that's like not tied to the series, but still is. You can have Raditz as your partner, and maybe have the option to fuse with another Saiyan and customize the fusion that you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it all. I mean, this is a really you've been waiting on this one.
I
I
have,
like
yeah.
all of it. I definitely what would I say? Yeah, I guess I don't really have nothing. Like I said, I'm taking a back seat on this one. It seems like Rowd and I are just hearing you out here, letting you go ahead with this one. So I'm perfectly cool with that
They
one.
need to hire
One
me.
thing you just said, out your creative director would be tough, man. I need that. But one thing I like that you just said, just for Dragon Ball Daima, and it would be relative to the game. You're basically saying scale everything down. Is we went from, Broly and MUI and Jiren and Blue Gogeta, like we got super over the top, right? Like Ultra Ego in the manga and things like that. And when we just step back and now we're pre-Beerus and pre a lot of crazy hectic stuff, and it still is just the purest form of Dragon Ball.
Well, we're
And
back in the
they
Buu
both
saga.
can be the purest form of Dragon Ball, right? Like two things can be true. It doesn't
for
have to
sure.
be super buff dudes fighting each other, but at the same time, it can be that, right? This is all what Dragon Ball is. So I think it's really cool.
Well, I hope they embrace that that attitude of having everything at once that aren't connected. Like I've said before on this pod, like I don't care if this is part of the Dragon Ball Super universe or not. I don't necessarily want it to be even. So I hope that they can maybe realize that they can do Dragon Ball Super 2 and have Moro and Ultra Ego and all the rest, but then also have Dragon Ball Daima 2. You know what I mean? Like have Daima 2, because the biggest complaint when Daima kind of was announced and everything was the same people that, like you said, are criticizing Majin KUU's design are the kind of people that's like, no, but everyone wanted the Moro arc, rah, rah, rah. It's like, okay, you wanted it, that's fine. I also want it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not closed off to things being a little bit more camp or a little bit more adventurous at the same time. Like both can be present, both can exist. And the Dragon Ball universe is one of many, like the X-Men, like the Terminator, like all these other franchises that deal with time travel. They're so fucked. They are so broken that you can have so many different branching timelines and everyone can enjoy what they like to enjoy as long as they just produce it and make it good. You know what I mean? They don't have to make it better than anything. They just have to make it good and you can enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a huge fan of Super, but I do like it. I'm liking this probably a little bit more, but I like both. So I still want to see Super 2 or whatever case may be. So yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, shoot, I got none left. You guys have any closing thoughts? You guys?
Yeah. Just like Greg as well.
All right. Well, shoot. If you guys don't have anything, I guess I'll just leave it at. Y'all know who it is, man. It's the 8-Star Ball, man. Got 3 of us in here today. There's a couple more of us. I just wanted to say I appreciate our special guest stopping by today. Rowd, where can they find you at? Social medias or things of that nature. I know you play a certain game. I think I mentioned it earlier. I just wanted you to, if you wanted to talk about that real quick, where they can get you at.
Dokkan Battle. No, just kidding. So yeah.
10th anniversary coming soon, man.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh shit, it is
so
too.
For anything regarding Dokkan, not only Greg and King do play Dokkan on their channels, but I do keep up with Dokkan stuff. Also, social medias, you guys know Twitter and stuff like that. I'm over there as well. But yeah, I appreciate the time being given out for me. I appreciate being here talking about Diamond stuff. It's pretty cool to have it. So thank you.
All right, Greg, man. Let me throw you the lob real quick. Where can they find you at, man? Well, let me
comment section. Just hit me in the comment section. Even tag me. I might be more likely to see it, I guess, if it's on someone else's channel. But other socials, I'm pretty inactive at the moment. It's smack bang in the middle of summer, which for my real job it means that I'm flat out and exhausted most of the time. And then when we record and we lose the audio, that really kicks my enthusiasm in the guts. But I'm more than happy to talk all theories. I mean, as you probably heard back on this episode, there's plenty of theories and plenty of headcanons and trains of thoughts that I like to go down. So if anyone's got anything wild, you don't have to go as wild as King and his Saiyan theory, but certainly if you've got anything left of field, let me know.
Y'all gonna find out, man. I'm running victory laps across every pod episode after we find out, I promise. But yeah, okay, all right, everybody, man. It is the Further Beyond podcast, episode number 9, with special guest, Mr. RaudoKun. It is the Young King Hitman and Mr. Greg Daw. We are off this.